Hello and welcome back to Proactive New York. Joining me today is David Lesser and Jared Schrader, both from Power REIT. It's good to see you guys again. How are you?
Great, thank you.
Great. Good to see you.
The last time we all caught up, Jared was in a greenhouse in Oklahoma. It looks like you're both in a greenhouse this time. David, tell us where you are.
Sure. We are in Marshall, Michigan. We had previously announced a potential acquisition that we had put under contract, and we are here today to announce that we have completed this acquisition. This acquisition is, for us, a very large acquisition. As I mentioned, it's in southern Michigan, which is a favorable growing climate for cannabis, and we're really excited to kick this off.
Yeah, could you tell us a bit more about the property?
Certainly. So this is a 556,000 square foot greenhouse property. It's located on a 60-acre plot, so we have expansion capability. In fact, the project came with plans for expansion of another 330,000 square feet as an additional phase. So we're excited down the road as we look towards expansion. The purchase price is $18.5 million, and then Power REIT will also fund a bunch of additional upgrades to really convert this from what it was, which it used to grow red peppers, and now we are pivoting to grow cannabis. And so there's some upgrades we will look to do, and we're excited to get this property into operation. It's quite a facility, as you can see from behind both of us.
Yeah, from my understanding, much larger than your previous acquisition. So how else does the facility set itself apart?
Yeah, so we believe this is actually the largest cannabis cultivation facility in the state of Michigan, and frankly, one of the largest in the country. This large scale, we believe, will allow us, our tenant, to operate at a much lower cost, and therefore really have a strong position within the Michigan market. And especially because of the growing techniques that will be employed here, really, it's going to be able to be very, very competitive within this state. This is a state-of-the-art greenhouse facility. It's referred to in the industry as a Dutch Venlo style. It also has exceptionally high ceiling heights, 26-foot height, which does a lot for controlling the growing climate. So we think this is truly a state-of-the-art and exciting facility to get into our portfolio. It also has a lot of advanced automation systems that exist, as well as irrigation systems. It has all of this really advanced agricultural greenhouse, these elements that will really allow for very efficient operation. It has truly a best-in-class irrigation and fertigation system that is really, you can see part of it behind me with these tanks, and there's distribution throughout the facility. It's very computer and precision equipment. We also have a large boiler that we can use to heat the facility, but interestingly, we run that boiler during the day to produce extra CO2 that we inject into the greenhouse, and the greenhouse therefore can grow faster and better plants by having that enhanced CO2. But then, because we don't need the heat during the day, we then store that heat in a 1 million gallon hot water storage tank, and then use that heat in the evening and when we use it. The greenhouse also benefits from what's referred to in the industry as diffuse glass, which allows for better light penetration and distribution, and can enhance crop yields and frankly the plant count. So again, this is a truly state-of-the-art facility, and we think it can be best in class, frankly, nationally. So we're quite excited. There's also some elements here that provide infrastructure for automation. So again, in terms of lowering the cost of production by our tenant operator, all of that is in place, and we're excited to fully see it get into operation.
Yeah, pretty impressive features there, David. Jared, I want to turn now to you. This is your first acquisition in Michigan. So what really attracted you specifically to this market?
Yeah, Michigan is a rapidly growing market. It's projected this year in 2021 to do 1.8 billion in sales, which is an 80% year over year growth in this state. Price per pound currently is growing in the state to about $4,000 a pound, which is much higher than the national average. So we are anticipating some price compression there, but with our low cost of production here in Michigan. We're looking forward to providing cannabis in the state for quite some large time. At that level, Michigan will actually be the second largest cannabis market behind California. So it's a new market, but it's growing quickly, and by the end of this year, it should be one of the largest markets in the country.
Yeah, you say it's a new market. Tell us a bit more about market trends in the state.
Yeah, so it's only been adult use in Michigan for about 2 years, but it's experiencing rapid growth in the state. The largest sectors of growth are actually non-smokable flower. So smokable flower currently represents about 50% of the market, but items such as concentrates, edibles, vapes, and other ancillary products are growing very rapidly here in this state and nationwide as more consumers start coming into the market. So what we're excited about this facility is its ability to produce not only large amounts of smokable flower, but we will be doing extraction and other CPMG products here at this site to meet the market demand as it continually grows in Michigan.
And David had told us about the sheer kind of scale of the cultivation facility. So what can you kind of tell us about what you anticipate in terms of production?
Yeah, so this cultivation will be the largest in Michigan, the second largest cannabis greenhouse cultivation in the country. So it'll have quite some scale. Our projections are based around 100,000 plants, but we believe at scale we'll actually have multiples of that here on site. With that plant count and our conservative yield projections of around 0.1 and current market prices nearing $4,000, that'll obviously provide significant revenue for Millennium Cannabis and therefore rent coverage for Power REIT. We're really excited about the expansion capabilities of this site as well. There's a lot of acreage here that we could grow onto very quickly. So this could, immediately become the number 2 facility size-wise in the country and quickly expand beyond that.
Thanks very much, Jared. And back to you for a second, David. You and I have talked about many of your transactions in the past. Are the lease terms for this cannabis cultivation facility similar to past transactions?
Yes, as we've been doing, we do 20-year triple net leases. So the tenant is responsible for all of the costs of the facility itself, not just their operating costs. This transaction is structured whereby Millennium Cannabis is the tenant, and we've discussed this previously. Our lease structure has the tenant repay our entire capital investment over the first 36 months of the lease after a deferred rent period to allow the property to get up and running. So it's very similar to all of the other transactions we've done. And given the scale of this transaction and the yields we're investing at, which are quite strong relative to, again, traditional real estate asset classes, this is a highly accretive transaction for Power REIT. As I mentioned, so the tenant is owned by Millennium Investment and Acquisition Company. That's a separate public company. Its ticker is MILC, and through its subsidiary Millennium Cannabis, that will be the tenant of this facility. And Jared Schrader, who's on the line, not only helps Power REIT source deals, but runs that effort as president of Millennium Cannabis. So excited to have him here to talk about the project and again kick this thing off, because it's really an exciting day for Power REIT.
Yeah, well, Jared, what progress can you tell us about how you've been making with building an operating team?
Yeah, so Millennium Cannabis has been busy at work since we've announced our 2 previous deals in Southern Colorado and Oklahoma. In under 3 months, we've accumulated the team to about 50 total employees. And a lot of the staff is going between locations, cross-training, and building out our processes and procedures across the organization. So that will be no different here in Michigan. We'll utilize a lot of that existing team and infrastructure here to support the Michigan team. We've also retained the current previous operator of this site. So running this property at scale is obviously quite a sophisticated challenge, but we're fortunate to have the operator who was here for nearly 7 years to run this facility at size. We've secured our COO here in Michigan, and we'll begin to build the team around the Marshall, Michigan project. So we're excited to quickly hit the ground running. David and I were actually in Canada earlier this week, leaning on large scale agriculture experts. In Canada, they've got multiple greenhouses of this size. So Millennium is really leaning on traditional agriculture experts to come and assist us in growing cannabis at this large scale. So we're growing the team rapidly and excited to get started here in Michigan.
Thanks, Jared. David, we'll leave it with you before we go. This is your third Millennium affiliated transaction. So why do you see this kind of concept continuing to work?
Sure. So look, we believe this affiliation is frankly a strategic alliance that really is a win-win. It's a win for Millennium, but really we're focused on PowerREIT, and it helps PowerREIT because it provides a path to additional acquisitions that otherwise would not be available to us. This is a distressed asset that we're acquiring. We're actually acquiring it out of receivership, and it's sat vacant for several years. Without the ability to pull in Millennium and move forward rapidly because we have that strategic alliance, this is a transaction PowerREIT could not have pursued. But because it's a distressed acquisition, we feel from a real estate perspective, we are buying it at a very, very attractive price. And by buying it at an attractive price, it, I believe, helps our tenant operator with their ability to pay our rent and get us our return. So really, it's a true win-win. We were able to move very quickly to pull together a very complicated transaction. And yeah, again, we're just so thrilled to be moving forward with this new acquisition and frankly, this new direction where we can continue to look at large-scale facilities, as we sort of graduate to the next phase of our company. Most of the transactions we've done that we started with were much smaller, and this is a large-scale facility that's quite exciting.
Yeah, definitely a huge deal for you. Big congrats again, David, Jared. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.